you've done a lot of work, obviously researching what's going on at the University of Idaho. What are you mentioned the case in 1991. Have there been any other cases that you've been really interested in digging into?
Another case I was interested in was Will Hendrick. He was out drinking with some friends downtown one night and he mysteriously vanished, and nobody knows what happened. But 3 years later, some hunters were out in the woods and they found a skull and a jawbone. And the police were able to use DNA and dental records to say, hey, this belongs to Will, like this is Will. But they never found any of his other remains. And there are quite a few people they suspected of being involved, but nothing was ever proven. So I used a FOIA, Freedom of Information request, to try to get his file and the paperwork, but my request was denied, and they cited that it is still an open, ongoing investigation. So that makes sense why they wouldn't give me the paperwork. But you know, there's so much speculation around what happened to him. And if I'm right, if I remember correctly, his parents were also police.
Okay. Now, this book, Shadows of the Palouse, what was the process of, have you got any pushback from publishing this book at all? Have you got any, I don't want to say threats, but any pushback, like why are you doing this or anything like that?
I've had people fighting me online for the last couple of years because they think I'm just making stuff up, or this isn't true or that isn't true. And I tell them, like, look, I've got all this paperwork proving I'm telling the truth, and these stories are real and they happened. And, it's my opinion that the police and everybody else in that town don't want the truth to come out because it would affect enrollment at the university.
Okay. Now, can you goes top again? Too much caffeine, Justin. This is what happens when you eat too much coffee, okay? Can you walk us through the process of maybe writing the book? And was there anything that you uncovered? I guess how was your research process go? You mentioned FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act. Was there any other research that you did to make sure that you were telling the truth about these stories? Let's put the people's minds at ease, I guess.
I, went on Google and started using Google to find news articles. And then I started looking at the student newspapers on campus because they also had information that wasn't in the media reports. So I collected all of that information and I made digital copies of it as well as paper copies of it. Because some friends and I have noticed that stories and information about the students at the university just kind of vanish from the internet. So I thought
Hmm.
it was really important to make sure I have copies of everything so I can say, look, I have this material right here. You can see it for yourself.
That's really weird, especially since nothing really vanishes from the internet. So that's kind of strange. So it's a good thing
Your
that you got
audio
all
cut
your
out.
document. Oh, well, I said it's really strange because nothing really disappears from the internet. So it's a good thing that you have that proof there.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
Uh,
like, I'm not going to sit here and write this book with no proof to back it up. So I just started printing out all the news articles, the student newspapers. There were some people where their families were willing to talk to me, other people they weren't. So I've just been compiling all this over the last 2 years and got to a point where I was like, there's enough here to write a book. So I wrote a book.
so why now? Why did you decide to write the book now?
Hazing is starting to be, it's starting to have more legislation to, um, I don't want to say punish. I don't know if that's the right word, but hold these students accountable. So, there are a number of states who have legislation turning hazing into a misdemeanor or a felony, depending on how far the hazing went. And on Christmas Eve this year, so like last week,
Mhm.
President Biden signed HR 5646, the Stop Campus Hazing Act, into law. And that was co sponsored by Amy Klobuchar and Lucy McBath.
Okay. So the book's been out a couple weeks now. What feedback have you received from readers?
Um, Most of them have told me it's a really good book and they're glad I wrote it. I haven't had anyone come to me and be like, "Oh, this is terrible. You shouldn't have done this, that, the third," you know. It's been pretty positive.
Okay, good. What are you hoping to accomplish by writing this? I know you said you wanted to get the truth out there. Is that the sole purpose of the book, is getting the truth out there?
I want to expose the truth. I want people to know what is happening at these universities across the country because it's not okay. And this is a problem that has been ignored and swept under the rug for way too long. And there are a lot of families who are trying to work through like legislature and going and speaking at campuses, and they're pushing to help end hazing. So we're all kind of trying to thrust that issue back into the media spotlight so people pay attention to it.
Gotcha. Now, Justin, is this a problem that just affects public universities, or does it affect public and private?
It's any university that has Greek life.
Okay. And so theoretically, that would include Christian universities as well when they have those sororities or
Yes,
fraternities. Okay.
in theory,
Have-
yes.
okay. So where do we go from here as far as this thing? You mentioned the legislation signed by the president on Christmas Eve. Is there any other legislation in the works out there?
Not that I'm aware of, but I have a meeting with Congressman LaShaw Ford next week to discuss this.
Great. And what are you hoping to accomplish with that meeting, which is huge, by the way? Congratulations on getting that meeting.
I'm hoping he can help me go to Congress to bring more light to the issue and really push to change it.
Okay. So are you hoping to speak in front of Congress about the issue?
That would be awesome. I would love to do that. And if I can make that happen, I will.
Awesome. Now the book is available wherever books are sold. It's called Shadows Over the Palouse, and of course it was a bestseller on Amazon for the first week it was out. Congratulations on that. That's
Thank
huge.
you.
For those that don't know, Amazon sells 70% of all books now. And so being number one bestseller on there is absolutely huge. So huge accomplishment there. Um, Justin, with the time we have left, can you tell us why our listeners um, should care about this issue?
Everyone should care globally because parents should not be sending their children to school to get an education only for their children to go home in a body bag. That should not be happening.
Couldn't say it better myself. I have a 16-year-old, I have a 13-year-old, and two 11-year-olds. And my son is talking about what college he's going to go to already. It's nerve-wracking for me as a parent. I get that. But yeah, we should all care. We should not have to worry about our children encountering any of this. Now, what can I do as a parent to maybe prepare my child um, for this issue when they go off to college?
Talk to them about hazing. There are quite a few videos out there on YouTube that families of students have made about their children who have died. One of those students was Adam Oakes, and I've been speaking with his dad off and on to learn more. And they are doing a lot of really amazing work with their foundation, the Love Like Adam Foundation. They go to college campuses and speak about the issue.
Great. Now, Justin, can you tell our listeners where to get in contact with you if they have any questions or anything?
You can find me on Facebook by I'm friends with William, and it's just Justin Rodriguez. You can type it in, it should pop up. If not, you can email me at jrodspeaks@gmail.com. And I also have a Signal number that I will post online so people can contact me via Signal.
Great. Justin, thank you so much for coming on the program and talking to us about your book and this important issue. Thanks so much, and God bless the work you do.
God bless you too. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.